So this is something you need to remember. This is a very interesting and a very important point for those who are applying for 4. Now 407, bad part is not all 3 applications has a review right. You need to make sure, your agent needs to make sure that the 407 sponsorship should not get refused. Then your visa would get finalized as well, or they will wrap up with no review rights. This is not applicable in the 482 visa application. So how we can tackle this? This is very interesting and lots of people will love this. Hello everyone, this is Anil Kwaj. I'm a registered migration agent and co-founder ThinkHack Consultants. Today's video is specifically for 407 applicants who wanted to apply for 407 just because their 485 is about to expire. They don't have any visa options except 407, where their current employer wanted to go for 407 for them. 407, which is also called a training visa, can be applied if you have recent graduate, but obviously needs to be graduated in last 12 months, or you have minimum 12 months of experience related to your qualification. Then your prospective employer or the current employer can do the 407 for you. Now the myth is that you cannot apply for 407 review when it comes to getting a refusal, but that is not true. I'll be giving you more insight about how to lodge 407 ART applications, because there is something which you need to be very careful at the time of lodging the application, and make sure you have done the right paperwork and the right application so you get an ART review chance. There are lots of applicants who have done the 407 applications but they haven't got the review right. So why? So let's talk about that. Now 407, just like work visa 482, have 3 steps. One is called the standard business sponsorship for 407. So if your employer has a 482 sponsorship, still you need a 407 sponsorship. The second is the nomination, and the third one is the visa application. Now 407, the bad part is not all 3 applications has a review right. So for instance, if your SBS has been refused, you would not be able to apply for the nomination review. Your nomination application automatically gets finalized. Therefore, you would have no opportunity to apply for a review for your visa application, because if you don't have a nomination, then your visa would get finalized as well, or they will wrap up with no review rights. So how we can tackle this? Now, again, this is very interesting and lots of people will love this. 407 sponsorship application is the most important part. You need to make sure, your agent needs to make sure that the 407 sponsorship should not get refused. Because if that get refused, as I said, you won't be getting a nomination review and ultimately your visa get refused as well. But I'll come to that point and how to counter that. So first thing is, you need to make sure that your sponsorship is not refused. But say if your sponsorship get refused and you have lost the sponsorship nomination visa altogether, then what? Now you are in a big trouble because you don't have a nomination review rights, and ultimately the visa would get refused as well. Now for the 407, the beauty is, if you get a sponsorship nomination refused, we do the sponsorship and the nomination and ask the department to attach your SPS and nomination to the existing visa application. This is not applicable in the 482 visa application. So this is something you need to remember. This is a very interesting and a very important point for those who are applying for 407. You need to inform to your agents, or you need to be well educated with this one. Now coming back to that one, if you request the department to attach your new SPS and nomination to the existing visa application, they will not refuse your visa application. Thus, you would able to apply for ART for both sponsorship, or you don't need to apply for ART for both, and ultimately it will carry on. Now lots of people get sponsorship, but somehow the nomination get refused and they have the visa application ongoing. In that case, you have 2 options. Either you lodge a new nomination and ask the department to attach to the new nomination your visa application, or you go with an ART. Now this all subject to that how your applications are working out. Generally, we have seen lots of cases where nomination and visa has been refused altogether. They haven't given the section 57 adverse information or any section 56 for required for the more information, and they've refused the application. In that case, you would not able to apply for review, so you need to be very careful. But yes, if the nomination is refused, ultimately your visa get refused, so you will then get the opportunity to apply for the review for both nomination and visa. Now another interesting case study which I need to give you. We had a client whose sponsorship got refused. Ultimately they finalized the nomination application. Now what we did, we, based on the nomination we lodged, we have an acknowledgement, everything, and the sponsorship refusal, we had it. We applied for the review for both applications, and ultimately ART has accepted that one. That way, the visa application was still intact. We got 2 new SBS and nomination application, and then we asked the department to add these 2 to the existing visa application. So what happened? We applied for ART as well, and we did the 2 new application. Now, if for instance ART get approved earlier than the new SBS and nomination, you'll get the visa as well. And even though if something bad happened to ART, you have an alternate, you have done a backup, and smartly what you have done, you have done the 2 new applications. So this is how it happens. If you won't do this, then ultimately you get unlawful, because you will only get 28 days or 35 days in order to leave the country, because then you would not have any ART review right. And ultimately, if ART is not there, there's less chance that federal will accept your application. If they do, they may refuse the application down the line, and ultimately you have to go back to your country, which is very alarming. So I hope this video helps you out. If you're a 407, a potential applicant or aspirant where you wanted to lodge the 407, this is the right approach to go for. And this video is also for your employers and sponsors, so do share this video with them as well, so at least they would have a better idea. And ultimately your agent needs to be smart enough to lodge the 407 application. If you have any issues, my team is more than happy to assist you. We are specialists in 407 training plans and all those stuff. Do contact Think Eye Consultants, and we are happy to help you. All the best.